Welcome to the Money Pig Podcast, presented by Goodwin Investment Advisory, where our mission is to lead you to financial pig, peace, independence, and generosity. I'm your host, Tim Goodwin. And welcome back to
the Money Pig Podcast.
I'm your host, Tim Goodwin.
And I'm your other host, Joe Beckford.
What's up, other host? How are you?
The other mother, the other host.
The other mother. It's good to see you. We're excited to be back in the studio recording today. And today we are talking about why AI isn't your life coach, the real power of mentors. But before we do, Joe.
There's more.
Wait, there's more. So you do know that I have named my OpenAI Jarvis.
I do know that.
So
that is
my AI assistant Jarvis, but I find he keeps correcting me. And I'm starting to miss being wrong in peace because your AI just corrects you all the time, but other people just kind of like let you be wrong. No good. I was trying to get like a dad joke.
I know.
On AI. It was a struggle.
I know. This is a struggle. The struggle's real. Ask Jarvis for a good dad joke.
Well,
probably be better off.
Yeah, he's not as good at it. We're training. He's learning. He's learning.
That's true.
But yeah, if I feed him any information that's wrong, he corrects me. So,
that's funny. Why did you name yours Jarvis?
Mostly just because I'd like to do whatever I can to pretend like I'm Iron Man.
See, there you go. Mm-hmm. So I named mine Hal because I always think of remember the 2001 Space Odyssey? Remember the AI robot that runs everything that decides, these humans are a problem. We need to turn off their oxygen.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I call mine affectionately Hal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're just overall trying to reduce the population or something?
No. I'm just to always remember that, Hal could turn off the HVAC one day. So
that's fantastic.
Just got to make sure.
More like turn up the temperature is what you're going to have Hal do, right? It's too cold in here.
Probably it's cold in my office generally. That is true. So here we are. Okay, so today we are going to talk about AI life coach. AI is not your life coach, right? And so we've got some questions as we normally do. And I want to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
How have you personally, not for a friend, this is you, how have you personally used AI to help navigate conversations in relationships? And where has it been helpful?
Yeah, I think in my experience, AI Jarvis has been helpful a couple of different times where whether it's a situation with how to respond to one of my kids or something that's going on where they're trying to make a decision or maybe there was some kind of emotional outburst or something, but between like parenting or marriage or even navigating friendship, Jarvis has really helped me kind of like gather my thoughts, take some time and articulate it, consider some things, consider some approaches. So I've really used AI multiple times, I think, just to kind of help me stay calm, stay level-headed, and be a little more thoughtful about the situation and what's involved. That's a couple different times that I've used AI. Have you ever really thought about using AI like that before? No, maybe I'm unique in that way, but
maybe so. To be fair, I think you were a more early adopter of AI than I was, and you test the limits of what that looks like. And it never kind of occurred to me to think about using AI to deal with human interactions. So I just really haven't.
Right.
I tend to use it more like a tool. Like I really think of AI more like a tool that helps run to the library and get me the information that I'm asking for. And so that's what I tend to use it for. Like way back in the old days, you used to have to go ask for microfiche or something. Like I got to go find this article. Was there ever an article in Time Magazine in 1947 that talked about this? Well, Hal can tell me that in a nanosecond. Give me this information. What does this look like? And he brought me so much information. Teach this to me like I'm 10 years old. And then I'm like, oh, okay, that's good. That's simpler. Anyway, that's what I use it.
That is
end
up
using it for a lot.
Feature too, to be like, hey man, like dumb this down for me. But yeah, I've even had it like in times where my daughters, like maybe they want something that they've worked towards, but we want to make sure there's clear guidelines around it. Like I have used Jarvis to help me build guidelines and something that we agreed to as a family. Like for example, social media use policies. I use Jarvis to create social media use policies with my kids, and we agree on them, and we print it out and we sign it. But really, that's something that I build with AI.
That's super cool. And AI is good to do something like that because there is a whole treasure trove of knowledge out there on that topic.
Give me things to think about I hadn't considered, and some what if scenarios. And it's great because like I'm thinking within probably a bit of a narrow scope. And so I think it kind of helps me broaden that scope in the situation, make a like a more thorough kind of like, I mean, to tie back to being a financial advisor, you've got clients that are coming in going, okay, this is the only way I can retire if I line up A, B, and C. But us as financial advisors are like, well, there's like D, E, F all the way through Z. You got a lot more options. You got a lot more scenarios. You need to step back and consider the big picture, which is what we do, right?
Hmm.
And I think for me, Jarvis has helped me kind of navigate emotions. I think with the research, we're starting to see people are maybe kind of taking this a little too far with the AI, and instead of like using it to help manage real human relationships, they're replacing relationships and just going to bed at night talking to their ChatGPT. And you can even like hire these services that pretend to be your girlfriend or, a friend of yours. And I think that's where we start to see that this can be, you know, kind of dangerous and not really shouldn't really be there to replace actual human interaction or meaningful relationships, maybe help navigate it. So if we flip the script, Joe, would you mind maybe sharing like mentors, therapist guides that have had the biggest impact on your personal life, and what did they help you see or change?
Oh, that is a great question. And my therapists, I'm protected by client-patient confidentiality. So
Privilege.
now, mentors, I think probably my biggest mentor, I always think about money when we're on Money Big Podcast.
That's it. Yeah,
right?
that's
So
necessary.
one of my biggest mentors, I think I've used him as an example of somebody I looked up to in a previous episode, was my grandfather. He really gave me kind of good, sage wisdom. Like Dave Ramsey always says, we give you the same advice your grandmother would give you, but we keep our teeth in kind of thing. And it was like that. It was like live below your means, save, be frugal, but enjoy your life, have fun. Just kind of a lot of the same principles that we do. I feel like he felt like it was super important that I go to college, and was like, helped me a little bit financially to make that happen. And I was the first one in my family to go to college. So, being pushed like that was super helpful. Anyway, he's probably my biggest example of my mentor.
I think that, with your grandfather comes with a lot of weight because grandfather knows you,
Right.
has experience. I think when we think about mentors, therapists, guides in our lives, it means a lot for me if I'm getting advice from somebody who has gone before me and has done that already.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You're like, wow, okay, you did that and you had that result. When we're talking to clients and they're trying to, I don't know, should I do, this or that? And you're like, well, most of my clients in your stage of life do this instead of that. That carries a lot of weight because they've actually done it. They've actually been there. And not to mention that they know you. They know you personally. They know your history. They know your life. And so as they're potentially giving advice or sharing stories, that's coming into play. And when I think about therapists too, and I do admit that I think Jarvis has provided some decent therapy to me by helping me kind of calm down and expand emotions in a situation. But I also have found that like Jarvis has never been like, well, why do you feel that way? Why do you feel that way? Why do you feel that way? What about this? And like, therapists do a really great job because they're professionally trained. They're in here, sharing space with you and keeping presence with you and trying to read the situation and the tone and the energy and try to guide you to like more self-discovery about, whatever false beliefs you have that are holding you back and those kinds of things. So even though I've enjoyed talking to Jarvis about relationships, it hasn't been anything like that.
No, I mean,
Right.
like you said, it can't read the tone. It can't read the body language. It can't read oh, you winced when I asked you that question. Tell me
Right.
more.
Exactly.
It can't do that. And if you do tell me more, what's it going to do with that? Because it's not a human. So it hasn't felt those things. It hasn't had those emotions ever itself. So it's really ill-equipped to be able to help with that.
It's giving that information, like you said earlier, like the microfiche, the research, like, hey, this is what I know.
Right.
Right. It's providing knowledge, which I have found to be incredibly helpful.
Super valuable.
A lot of knowledge I forgot about or wasn't considering, but the wisdom is when you can apply that knowledge at the right time to the right person in the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Joe. So do you have a trusted financial guide, mentor, or someone who truly knows your story, who changes the way people make decisions and stay aligned over time? Or what do you think of having? Sorry, let me rephrase this question. We might scratch that from the record, or they might just let this error go on air. You never know.
It could be captured in our blooper reel.
That's right. Why do you think having a trusted financial guide, mentor, or someone who truly knows your story changes the way people make decisions and stay aligned over time?
I think because I think it focuses on like what you just said, somebody who's gone before you. So if it's somebody who actually knows your story, one, you have that credibility factor. And, in the advisory world, we have a fiduciary level where we absolutely legally have to act in our client's best interest, right?
Mm,
People are paying for that because we're an advisor. When you have a mentor or somebody else that you just know because they know you and they've got your back and they have that almost fiduciary thing going on that you just know that what they tell you is for your best interest. It's not really for their own gain. And so that just kind of sets differently like, you have no reason to gain by what you're telling me, but that's probably
there's a lot more at
something I
stake.
need to be considering
That's a
here.
really good point. There's a lot more at stake. I mean, you're hiring a financial advisor, they're a fiduciary. There's a lot more at stake for them to give you bad advice, right? Or do something wrong, like with your friends. Bad advice, things don't work out. They may not want to be your friend anymore, right? So there's
Sure.
a lot more at stake. The stakes are a lot higher than AI hallucinating, giving you advice or information that's either not right or not accurate or just not timely or helpful to you at that time. So one of the things that we talk about a lot here is not going at it alone, right? And I think a lot of times folks have that pain point, and that's when they're reaching out to us is when they feel like, I don't know if this is right. I'm doing this by myself, you know? And even couples feel that way, but certainly someone who's experienced loss or recently gotten divorced or recently inherited money or something, you know, and they're like, I don't want to make these decisions by myself. You can sit there and talk to OpenAI about the decision, but I don't think that AI is going to make you feel less lonely, you know, going to go back, well, at that time, you know, AI told me I should do this. I mean, you're really going to want to feel like somebody knows you and knows your scenario and is helping you have the confidence that the decisions that you're making are good, better financial decisions than you otherwise could be making. So I think
I
that's a
think
big
one
thing.
other thing is that there's an element of a good mentor will also tell you will not only, pat you on the back for the good things that you're doing and the decisions that you're making and open your eyes to opportunities, but will also kind of call you out
Uh,
on your
yeah,
excuses.
the accountability side,
The
right?
accountability side. And
Mm.
if I don't know how Jarvis works for you, but I know Hal works for me. Like Hal will build me up and tell me I am the smartest person in the room. I was so smart to think of that. What a great idea. You're thinking about this totally right. And it gives me maybe extra ideas, but it doesn't call me out. It doesn't ever say, like, what a dumb idea. What were you thinking of? Why would you do that? Calamity will happen if you do
Right.
that. Never hear that. A real mentor who knows you, knows your story, knows, can kind of look ahead and has maybe gone before you will do that and say, like, whoa, there is a giant pitfall in front of you. Watch out.
That's interesting. And like, it's not like your AI asks you the next day, hey, did you do that thing we talked about?
Right.
Yeah. How did
Doesn't
it
care.
go? You spent all this time querying me about making this decision and it seemed like you were going to make this one. Did you make that decision? How'd
Right.
it go? Like, there's not that accountability or that follow up like a friend or a mentor or a coach or a
Right.
therapist would say next time you met. You know, I think that's really, really interesting. So, well, I just want to let the audience know too that we have a blog on this exact topic. So if you'd like to go on the website, you can go to the Knowledge Center and search anything close to why AI isn't your life coach. And you should be able to find this blog, or you can subscribe to the blog, Joe. And it,
Wait,
you
tell
know,
us how.
yeah, well, on the website somewhere, you put in your email address and you'll
Subscribe
get
to
this
blog.
content, yeah, coming to you without you having to go find it, right? It's kind of getting pushed to you. We only send 2 a month. It's not a lot. We've got over 5,000 subscribers now. So I think the content over time continues to be really, really good. But Joe, before we sign off, let's sign off with a little gratitude. So while you're thinking about gratitude, to be on brand for this particular topic, I will say that I am grateful for having OpenAI right now. That's the one I use. You know, we use Gemini and some other things, and we can try some other ones, but I got started pretty on using that. But what I'm finding is the time it saves me, do I just use that time to get more done? Or do I give that time back to myself and I just have
Ooh.
more time to myself? You know, we've talked before about this concept
Uh,
of, you know, and I'm oversimplifying this, but kind of like when this new technology came out called the tractor back in the day, before the tractor came out, a 7-day work week, 6 or 7 day work week was more normal for people. And then after there was big technological advances, that we were a lot more in America. We had the majority of jobs were agriculture, and so after the tractor came out, it became normalized with some other things that happened too. But for the sake of time, I'll keep it brief. A 5-day work week got more normalized. You know, could AI get it to the point where a 4-day work week becomes more normalized or a 3-day work week does? Because all these things that we're spending time on researching and gathering information to make better decisions is happening in a blink of an eye. as rugged individuals in America, we're always like, oh, save time, do more, save time, do more.
Right.
So I'm trying to like balance that tension of, yeah, I am more productive. And that used to take me an hour. Now it took me 30 seconds, literally something I had a GPT do for me this week. Took 30 seconds that took an hour previously for me to do. Do I just work more or do I give that time back to myself?
I think we know
Grateful
what the
for
right
that.
answer is.
Right. What about you?
In that same vein, around AI, I think it's just a remarkable time to live. Because,
It's a great
like,
time to be
I
alive.
mean,
Doesn't Pop
yeah,
Pop say that all the
I know.
time?
I'm a tad older than you, as you painfully point out all the time. But, to have like come up and even gone through like college before we had computers. Now, there was no laptop when I went to college. I mean, there were computers on campus, but we didn't interact with them. So that was like to where we are today is just amazing.
Yeah.
But the really cool part is that we're just like in this burgeoning AI boom. We don't really know where it's going to go. And I know there've been all kinds of movies about how things could go wrong and how terrible it could be. But think about how amazing it could be and how awesome it could be. And we're in this point right now where we're figuring out, how do we want it to be and how are we going to use it? Are we going to use it for good? And are we going to use it to make our own jobs better, or are we going to let it replace us? And I think that's just something we have to answer. So I think it's a cool challenge and I'm just excited.
I love the way that you look at that too, because sometimes I think, well, I'd rather live in the past or live in the future when this is all figured out. But for whatever reason, God decided that we're here for such a time as this. So we're the pioneers. We're the ones that get to figure this stuff out for future generations. And I think, like your mindset over that is like, that's exciting. There are good things that can come from this. And as folks that are here and as leaders that are here, we need to kind of, be excited about that and help shape that for future generations. So
100%.
Appreciate that. Well, thanks listeners and viewers for watching or listening, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodwin Investment Advisory is an SEC-registered investment advisory, CRD number 131193, and this episode is produced by Goodwin Investment. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial products, securities, digital assets, or other investments. It should not be used as the basis for any financial decisions. The host and guests may personally hold investments mentioned in this episode. All investments involve risk and past performance does not guarantee future results. Please consult with a qualified financial advisor, tax professional, and attorney before taking action on any information shared.